Over 1 billion people use Android all over the world. An average person spends 5.4 hours a day. About 82% think their usage is much below. But how many of us know Android correctly? Majority will say they know Android well. But the ground reality is they don't. Android is a Linux-based operating system. You will learn about the Android. So stay tuned. What's up YouTube? I am Sandeep and you are watching Duvel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for the latest updates. So with that being said, let's straight jump into the website. So let's begin. An Android is a portable working framework dependent on the change variant of the Linux part and other open source programming planned essentially for the touchscreen cell phones. Android is created by the consortium of engineers known as the Open Handset Alliance and industrially supported by Google. It was divulged in 2007 with the main business Android gadget propelled in September 2008. It is the free and open source programming. Its source code is known as the Android Open Source Project AOSP, which is essentially authorized under the Apache licensee. The source code has been utilized to create the variations of Android on a scope of different gadgets, for example, game consoles, computerized cameras, personal computers or PCs, and others, each with a specific UI. Some notable subordinates incorporate Android TV for TVs and Wear operating system for the variables, both created by the Google. Programming bundles on Android which utilize the APK position are commonly conveyed through the exclusion application store like Google Play Store or Samsung Galaxy Store, or some open source stages like Aptoid or Fdoid. And Android has been the top of the line operating system worldwide on cell phones since 2011 and on tablets since 2013. As of May 2017, it has more than 2 billion month-to-month dynamic clients, the biggest introduced base of any working framework, and as the March 2020. The Google Play Store highlights over 2.9 million apps. The current stable adoption is Android 10, delivered on September 3, 2019. Now let's see the history of the Android. Android was founded in Palo Alto, California in October 2003 by Andy Rubin, Rich Miner, Nick Sears, and Chris White. Rubin described the Android project as the tremendous potential in developing the smarter mobile devices that are more aware of its owner's location and preferences. The early intentions of the company were to develop an advanced operating system for the digital cameras, and this was the basis of its pitch to the investors in the April 2004. The company then decided that the market for the cameras was not just large enough for its goals, and by the 5 months later, it had diverted its effort and was pitching Android as the handset operating system that would rival the Symbian and Microsoft Windows mobiles. Rubin had difficulty attracting the investors early on, and Android was facing evictions from its office space. Steve Perlum, a close friend of the Rubin, brought him $10,000 in cash in an envelope and shortly thereafter wired an undisclosed amount as seed funding. The Perlman refused a stake in the company and has started, "I did it because I believe in the thing and I wanted the help of Andy." In July 2005, Google acquired Android for at least $50 million. Its the key employees, including the Rubin, Miner, and White, joined Google as the part of incubation. Not much as known about the secretive Android at the time, with the company having provided with the details other than that it was making software for the mobile phones. At Google, the team led by Rubin developed a mobile device platform powered by Linux kernel. Google marketed the platform to the handset marketers and carriers on the promise of providing a flexible, upgradable system. Google had lined up a series of hardware components and software partners and signaled to the carriers that it was open to the various degrees of the cooperation. The speculation about the Google's intention to enter the mobile communications market continued to build through the December 2006. An early prototype had a close resemblance to a BlackBerry phone with no touchscreen and a physical keyboard. But the arrival of the 2007 Apple's iPhone meant the Android had to go back the drawing board. Google later changed its Android specification documents to the state that touchscreens will be supported. Although the product was designed with the presence of the discrete physical buttons as an assumption, therefore a touchscreen cannot completely replace physical buttons. By 2008, both Nokia and BlackBerry announced touch-based smartphones rival the iPhone 3G, and Android's focus eventually switched to just touchscreens. The first commercially available smartphone running Android was HTC Dream, also known as T-Mobile G1, announced on September 2003-2008. On November 5, 2007, the Open Handset Alliance, a consortium of the technology companies including Google, device manufacturers such as HTC, Motorola, and Samsung, wireless carriers such as Sprint and T-Mobile, and cheapest markets such as Qualcomm and Texas Instruments, unveiled itself with a goal to develop the first truly open and compressible platform for the mobile devices. Within a year, the Open Handset Alliance faced two other open source competitors, the Symbian Foundation and the Limbo Foundation, latter also developing a Linux-based mobile operating system like Google. The September 2007 Information Week covered an effusive study reporting that Google had filed several patent applications in the area of mobile telephony. Since 2008, Android has seen numerous updates which had improved the operating system, adding new features and fixing bugs in previous releases. Each major release is named in alphabetical order after a dessert or sugary treat, with the first few Android versions being called cupcake, then donut, then eclair, froyo, in that order. During its announcement of Android KitKat in 2013, Google explained that since these devices make our lives so sweet, each Android version is named after a dessert. Although a Google spokesperson told CNN in an interview that it's kind of like an internal team thing and we prefer to little bit, how should I say, a bit inscrutable matter. In 2010, Google launched its Nexus series of devices, a lineup which Google partnered with the different device manufacturers to produce new devices and introduce new Android versions. The series was described as having played a pivotal role in Android's history by introducing new software and hardware standard across the board and became known as the board-free software with timely updates. At its developers conference in May 2013, Google announced a special version of the Samsung Galaxy S4 were inserted of the using Samsung's own Android customization. The phone ran stock Android and was promised to receive new system updates fast. The device would become the start of the Google Play Edition program and was followed by other devices including HTC One Google Play Edition, Moto G Google Play Edition. In 2015, earlier this week, the last of the Google Play Edition Android phones in Google's online storefront were listed as no longer available for sale, and that now they were all gone, and it looks like a whole lot of program was wrapped up. From 2008 to 2013, Hugo Barra served as the product spokesman representing Android at press conferences and Google I/O, Google's annual developer focus conference. He left Google in August 2013 to join the Chinese phone maker Xiaomi. Less than 6 months earlier, Google's then CEO Larry Page announced in a blog post that Andy Rubin had moved from the Android division to take on the new projects at Google, and the Sundar Pichai would become the Android lead. Pichai himself would eventually switch positions, becoming the new CEO of the Google in August 2015, following the company's restructure into the alphabetical order. In June 2014, Google announced Android One, a set of hardware reference model that would allow the device makers to easily create high-quality phones at low cost, designed for the consumers in developing countries. In September, Google announced the first set of Google One phones for release in India. However, the Recode reported in the June 2015 that the project was a disappointment, citing reluctant consumers and manufacturing the partners and misfires from the such company that has never cracked hardware. Plans to relaunch the Android One surfaced in the August 2015 with Africa announced as the next location for the program a week later. A report from the Information in January 2017 stated that Google is expanding its low-cost Android One program into the United States, although The Verge notes that the company will be presumably not produce the actual devices itself. Google introduced the Pixel and the Pixel XL smartphones in October 2016, marketed as being the first phones made by Google and exclusively featured certain software features such as Google Assistant before wider rollout. The Pixel phones replaced the Nexus series with a new generation of the Pixel phones launched in October 2017. In May 2019, the operating system became entangled in the trade war between the China and the United States involving the Huawei, which, like many other tech firms, have become dependent on across the Android platform. In the summer of the 2019, Huawei announced it would be created an alternative operating system to Android, known as Harmony operating system, and have filed for the intellectual property rights across the major global marketers. Huawei does not currently have any plans to replace Android in the near future, as Harmony operating system is designed for the Internet of Things devices rather than for the smartphones. On 22 August 2019, it was announced that the Android Q would officially be branched as the Android 10, ending the historic practice of the naming major versions after deserts. Google stated that these names were not inclusive to the international users due to either to the aforementioned mentioned food not being internationally known as being difficult to pronounce in some languages. On the same day, Android police reported that the Google had commissioned a statue of the giant number 10 to be installed in the lobby of the developer's new office. Android 10 was released on September 3, 2019 to Google Pixel phones first.